Hey everyone, welcome back. We got an exciting new guest this week. We got Ivan. We're gonna do a little sciencey video. Of course, back with Tim as well. We're gonna do science, like I said, a little intro to Ivan, go through, of course, some of the products, what goes on behind the scenes, get some little insight. But first things first, Ivan, Tim, how are you guys? I guess Ivan, I'll start with you. How are you?
Yeah, doing really great. I'm excited to be on with you today.
And Jason, it's good to see you again. I'm glad Ivan could join us because I get over my head on the science pretty quickly, and I rely on him. So I'm glad to have him here with us today.
Oh, awesome. Well, I figure we'll kick it off. Ivan, do you want to maybe say a little background? I know
Sure.
sciencey background. Do you want to, I guess, give
Yep.
people just some past success, and then we'll go into kind of what you do at Haven Life, and then of course, I'll throw some science questions at you, and we'll go from
For
there.
sure. The foundation of my education is a PhD in plant science. So as a plant scientist, I studied plant genetics and analytical phytochemistry. Did that degree in Australia. And in 2015, when I finished, I came back to Canada. My family's been working in the cannabis industry in BC for a long time. So it was a natural fit for me to come back in 2015 and start working within the legal cannabis industry, because I'm the first member of my family to be able to do that. Since 2015, I've been working with a variety of cannabis companies, mostly advising executive teams on their scientific and business strategy. The psychedelic industry started to gain momentum, and the majority of my graduate and postgraduate training was in psychedelics and psychedelic medicine. I've got 3 degrees across the board in psychedelic medicine. So I've been waiting around for the psychedelic industry to really kind of pick up and get going. So I'm super excited, very grateful to be, a part of the Haven team and just being able to, spark a new industry it really excites me. The new always excites me. So if
That's
I'm on the cutting
awesome.
edge, I'm happy. Yeah.
Hey, that's a great intro. That's awesome. I didn't know we were that much of a perfect fit. I mean, Tim, of course, has said great things, so that's fantastic. Curious, for the people that have no idea who you are, they've never even gone to the website, or maybe they have. Do you want to talk about kind of maybe what your day to day, week to week is at Haven?
Yeah, it's everything. So I was one of the founders. So from the very beginning, designing what the company will look like, the whole go public process, funding, talking to investors, and then right now, like we were talking before you started recording, me and the other scientists on the team are putting together the plan for our production facility. There's a lot of things that we can look at and compare to, but at the end of the day, we're at the cutting edge of this, right? So we need to really go through the mental exercise of making sure that we're planning for now and then planning for what the future looks like. Yeah, I love it. It's so much fun, but it's a lot of very focused and dedicated brain work that you have to make sure you're doing. So
Awesome. So here, without blowing anybody out of the water, I'm going to ask some sciencey questions. So,
sure.
the first one, and really the big part of this video, obviously, I want to go into what goes into making a product. You guys are now about to start production, like you say. You guys are going into stores in what appears to be a few months, based on Tim's and my last chat. So I got to
Yep.
ask you, what went into all the science before you have a product, and maybe walk through this product and maybe even the challenges, but the beginning to you come up with something to putting it in a bottle. Walk me through the part in the background that really is magic to everyone else.
Yeah, so just to clarify, yeah, Haven is coming out with some products this year.
Yeah.
They will be not psychoactive products though, so but they will be based on medicinal mushrooms.
Yeah.
So our first round of products very consciously selected certain medicinal mushrooms. And then we'll be putting some more time into sort of phase 2 and phase 3 of that product line. My job at Haven is to get everything sort of started and ready to go for the psychedelic side of things. Now, on the natural healthcare product side, Health Canada has a very step-by-step process that you can go from conception to product. with psychedelics, in particular, Havn is focused on psilocybin containing mushrooms. That is a much different project because currently in Canada, we don't have any regulations that allow for a company like ours to produce and sell to patients or the other people in the general public. So a lot of the work that we're focused in on right now is regulation. Not quite as fun as formulating and branding and marketing and all that kind of stuff, but it's a very, very important part of the process, because if we don't line ourselves up right now, then in 6 months or 8 months or 10 months, when the government starts to get sort of onto what they need to do to start regulating this stuff, we haven't sort of pre-thought out where we need to be, and so we'll end up having to do catch up and all that kind of stuff. So to come back around and answer your question, my main focus right now is interacting with Health Canada, understanding what they need from us and making sure that they've got all the relevant paperwork, because that's going to be key going forward.
Yeah, I guess a question, and I'm sure we'll do a ton of videos about science stuff, and you're going to be on a few. I'm sorry, but it's going to happen. But talk to me through,
All good.
the natural healthcare stuff, and for the people that are extremely eager. Of course, Tim has already mentioned that customers are going into some of these stores and saying, where is it? Where is it?
Yeah.
Curious, what went into creating that product, maybe?
Yeah, well, right from the very beginning, when we were designing what Havn would become, we there was some fundamental decisions that we made based on the sort of perceived market for what we were doing, and one of those decisions was that Havn, for the most part, was going to focus in on natural healthcare products. So we're going down that line because the types of people that are coming to psychedelic medicine are typically people that are migrating away from pharmaceuticals. So for Havn to, Havn could easily chosen as our business plan to produce, synthetic compounds, pure synthetic compounds, which would also have medical benefit. But we felt that taking the natural healthcare product approach was going to be much more, the type of customers and the type of clients that we wanted to support, those types of products would be desirable to them.
Yeah. No, and makes sense. So interesting. Now talk to me, of course, about the other side, where you're excited, where you're working, talk me through. And for the people that have no idea, how clinical trials come together, how a product's formed, maybe, do you want to give people an insight to the process? Of course, how you even start, from the beginning. I think, we were even seeing some questions. Okay, we understand we're going after mental health, but where do you even start? And I know a broad question, but I'm going to throw it at you.
Yeah. Okay. let me see what I can do with this one. So, first of all, there's a lot of thinking and a lot of research and a lot of reading. So I've been working in natural healthcare product, the natural healthcare product realm, for over a decade now. During my PhD, I also trained as an analytical chemist and worked in a lab during that time. So I'm very well aware of sort of that part of the natural healthcare product realm. But even before that, you've got to dig through ancient texts, ethnobotany, and then you have to look at the more current research. And some of that research, everyone's after the placebo-controlled double-blind studies, which is unfortunately considered the gold standard for research. But really what happens, especially with natural healthcare products, is that you start with case studies and individual reports, and then over time that body of information builds and builds and builds to the point where you can start creating hypotheses, at which point you can start looking at your placebo-controlled studies and all that kind of stuff. Natural healthcare products are typically treated in most countries as tradition, like if they're considered traditional, then they actually don't have to go through all of the clinical trial process. But there are definitely some indications that it's worthwhile taking a look at that through clinical trials. After you've sort of really zeroed in on all of that science side, then there's the formulation side. That's actually really the fun part, because it's a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. What are the active ingredients? How are they interacting with each other? How can we make a product that is very, very valuable for our customer? So that part is really, really cool. My colleague Alexander and I spend a lot of our work time, but also a lot of our personal time, just churning through those ideas, and what happens if we add this to this, and what happens if we combine these two. Is there going to be enough if we put only this much versus that much? So that's the really exciting part. And then with the natural healthcare products, because we're formulating these, I can buy them off the internet, or like raw powders off the internet. So we even get into a small amount of formulation work, and just testing them, making sure that our premise is correct. And then we get into the marketing side of things. Not my domain per se, but it's still a very interesting and fun part, getting that marketing team coming back at you, and getting all this great, all these great colors and fonts and combinations of pictures and layouts and stuff. So we're actually really lucky to have a very brilliant marketer. Her name is Natasha. She's our director of marketing, and she's just top notch with this kind of stuff. So it does take a team, and but yes, when you're working with the right team, it's fun, it's exciting, and everyone puts their 2 bits in. And this first round of Havn products will be fantastic. They'll strike to a very specific market, and the future is bright. We've got so many ideas. We'll need decades to play them all out.
You can see the passion while you talk. Like it's almost like it's in your veins, right? You just bleed passion, which is awesome.
Yeah, I love
so
this stuff.
Fantastic. And really, you're teasing a ton of stuff that we're gonna definitely have to do its own videos on.
Absolutely.
We could do a whole video on formulation and talk about some crazy
Yep.
stuff, I'm sure. Tim, I want to ask. I know usually you're the star of this show, so I have to ask, do you have any questions that, of course, you have for Ivan that you probably know the answer for, but you want to, to get it out to the people?
Well, first of all, let me just say, I'm very proud of our science team. As Ivan said, it does take a whole team to do this, and we've been careful in putting together a team that balances our science team with the business people like Natasha that can support them through the commercialization. So, I'm glad that we got him on this show, because I can't talk. I get over my head on this stuff pretty quickly. So I'm glad that he's here. But I think maybe one of the things, Ivan, that people would want to know about is our work on genetics, and how broad of a portfolio of genetics that we're going to have to work with on our psychedelics, because I know that's an area where you spend a lot of time in working, and I think it's something that sets us apart. So maybe just speak for a minute about our what I would say is our competitive advantage on genetics.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. And thanks, Tim. And just to reflect back at you, I'm super glad that you're on the team, because the business side of things that you take care of makes, that's part, it's all part of the package, right? So yeah, we're really lucky. We have an incredible team at Havn. So it's yeah, we can. I'm sure Tim and I cannot say enough. So we won't spend all the time praising our team. As far as genetics, so we've been in development of the Havn method for quite some time, and the Havn method is going to kind of form the foundation of our production methodology, and that involves a lot of different aspects, which all the way from how we like what types of media and grains and what we grow the mushroom on. It's typically thought that mushrooms grow on poo, which is true, but we've got much more high-tech ways of growing them, and much more high-tech media. And then there's all the conditions that the mushrooms grow in: temperature, humidity, light, all of that good stuff. And then to what Tim was talking about, we've been slowly collecting a strain library of known strains. These are strains that exist. So psilocybin exists almost on every single continent outside of Antarctica. So we're collecting these strains from all over the world. But once so typically what happens is you get spores from a mushroom, and that's a good starting point. But each of those spores have a lot of genetic diversity in them. So when those spores grow together into a mycelium, they actually outcompete other mycelium networks until the competing one, wins out. And so you've got that one that's won out, but you're not there yet, because those strains then need to be sort of standardized and stabilized. So you're getting, a very, very standard crop. So you know exactly how much time it takes to grow them, exactly what size each of them will be. So it's not just as easy as growing mushrooms. And a lot of people will take a look at the internet and understand how easy growing mushrooms is, but growing mushrooms that are production quality, standard, quality controlled, and at a large scale is
Oh.
a lot more difficult kind of process. So
Tim, I gotta say, you asked an insanely good question. Ivan, incredible answer. And a lot of people, of course, you think, okay, yeah, grow some mushrooms. How hard can it be? And like you
yeah,
said, and that's what people think
it's not
for
hard.
sure. So,
Yeah,
it's great that there's all the extra stuff and the pharma side, and a lot of people talk about this, and some of the big issues that people have said about the industry is how can you make sure that what you're getting each time is the same. And it's
exactly.
awesome
Yeah,
that, of course, you shed some light there. Look, guys, great intro video. Ivan, you're gonna have to come on for some more. You
for
did
sure.
too
It
good
was
of a
great.
job. So you absolutely killed it. Tim, I'm gonna ask,
Thanks.
do you have anything else you want to ask Ivan before we close things off? And I'm sure for anyone who's made it this far, ask your questions. We'll definitely do a science Q&A coming up.
Oh yeah,
Looks like Ivan's got some good things he can shed some light on. And
for sure.
Ivan, anything else you wanted to say?
Well, just thank you so much for having us on. Yeah, it's a real privilege to be part of the Havn team and be a part of starting a new industry. It's very, very exciting. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to our future conversations.
Awesome.
Thanks,
Tim,
Jason. Have a
perfect.
great day. Okay,
All right.
thanks,
Perfect.
Ivan. Appreciate it. Take
You
care.
bet. Thanks.